statement on that. We welcome now Ted Richardson, postdoctorate student at the Ole Miss Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedom. Hey, Ted.
Hey, how's it going?
Going great. Appreciate you joining us today. So, first, your thoughts on just this out for the entire world to see assassination of Charlie Kirk. He was scheduled to be on the Ole Miss campus next month as a result of your relationship with him, is what we understand. What do you think?
Yeah, it was particularly shocking for me. I heard about the assassination before the video came out, and then was watching, trying to figure out what was going on, and it was a really, really hard few days for me. I think that all right-thinking people are mourning. There are people who disagree with Charlie and don't like what he was doing, but even among those, most people have the sense to see what has happened and understand the magnitude of the problem that we're facing, and are trying to unite and do something good in the wake of this, and condemn the evil and try and lift the good. I heard you talking a little bit about some of the backlash in the wake of it. Seeing the people celebrating and calling him worse names than he was even called when he was alive, condemning his wife and children, condemning Christianity, condemning all sorts of different things, all in the name of the celebration of the death of what is ostensibly an influential young father and husband. It's been very, very disappointing and upsetting, disillusioning. A lot of people that I never would have thought would say things like that have been saying them. And so I guess my main thought is this assassination, it has exposed a lot of people, a lot of the thoughts that they've been keeping to themselves. A lot more people are demonstrating to the world that they're thinking things that we would never have thought possible, and it's a lot more people than I would have thought.
So you probably saw, Ted, that YouGov conducted a survey in the immediate aftermath. 72%, according to their survey, of Americans said violence is never justified. 11% said it can sometimes be justified. Another 12% said they're not sure, and 6% said, I don't want to say. But I guess what was most instructive from this survey was that it revealed that the folks in this country that lean into the left see assassination as an appropriate, acceptable remedy to advance their political agenda way more than people on the right.
Yeah, no, that appears unquestionably to be true. You were talking about cancel culture when we came back from the break, yeah. And assess what has been happening in the wake of Charlie's assassination, the people losing their jobs for saying really stupid stuff. However you like, but this is the same thing that the left was doing, 10 years ago and 5 years ago in the wake of George Floyd. For people not actually saying anything, nobody was celebrating anyone's death, nobody was calling for any violence, but they were equating people holding right-leaning views with that. And this now is the logical conclusion of that if you say believing a certain thing is violence, saying a certain thing is violence, then violence is justified on someone doing that. And so the rhetoric that the left has been using for such a long time, it's only gotten hotter and hotter and hotter until it was only inevitable that something like this was going to occur. And if the right, if some members of the right have gotten upset enough that they're going to start trying to use in a I would say a tamer way some of the tactics that we've seen in the past that have been used against the right for saying much tamer things than people have been fired for saying in this round of what we call maybe cancellations, I don't think anybody should be shocked by that, at very least.
Yeah, according to the poll, those who consider themselves very liberal, 24% say that it's acceptable to be happy about public figures' deaths. And in the very conservative group, it was 3%. So a huge disparity there. What's going on? What do you see? What do you hear from those that are kind of in your age group? Because there's also a variance by age, and younger folks, according to this poll, tend to see assassination, again, as a proper and acceptable remedy. What do you think's happening?
I think that the problem stems from the nature of the ideas that are being taught. In the university, and the university is, in a way, the vanguard, but these things have gotten all the way down to high school and K through 12 education in general. A few years ago, what we were talking about was CRT. We've turned a little bit to talking more about DEI.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, though. If you teach someone that, and these people are being taught this increasingly young, if you teach a young person with their brain still forming and trying to figure out who they are in the world, that some people, what they believe, and just their existence in the world makes them inherently evil or wrong, that's exterminationist rhetoric. That's the same kind of rhetoric that you see in Nazi Germany, and it's not of course Nazi Germany in its way was like a right wing government, not a left-wing government, but we're seeing the same way of thinking is coming from the left now. That the same way of, lives unworthy of living, useless eaters, unredeemable, people who are born in sin and unredeemable because of their skin color, because of their ancestry, because of the things that their parents believe, because of things that they believe, whatever it is, this is being taught younger and younger, and it's being folded into these people as a personality trait really early. And I think that if you teach people that, it shouldn't be too much of a shock that they think that those sorts of people dying, at very least, isn't a bad thing, even if they don't celebrate it.
Incredible. So what are you seeing in the university environment there, Ted, on the campus? What are you seeing? Mixed reactions? Are you seeing any reactions from people that are a bit shocking to you?
So I teach in the Declaration Independence Center, and so most of my experience has been with students and other professors. And what I'll say is, I think there are more professors, at least at University of Mississippi, from what I'm seeing, than not, who would condemn this full out. But I also think that a lot of those professors are scared because there are absolutely people on the University of Mississippi campus. I mean, I should be clear that I'm speaking only for myself, not for the Declaration Center, not for University of Mississippi when I say this. There are certainly people on the University of Mississippi campus who do celebrate this. We saw the prominent firing of somebody from the chancellor's office in the wake of the events, and I think that the people who would condemn this, a lot of them are afraid, and so I guess my message to those people is there's a way to do this. There's a way to do it in a moderate way, and to be careful without getting yourself in any kind of trouble while still standing up for what's right and condemning what's wrong. And I've heard some stories of people who I never would have thought would stand up and say what's right in the wake of this and are doing it. And so it's a mixed bag as anywhere, but I think that there are good things happening at the University of Mississippi in general, and the people who would celebrate this, a lot of them are gonna see what has been happening in the wake of this, and hopefully will reevaluate the way that they think and reevaluate the way they teach. But if not, we have on the federal level, there's rules coming down about the way that we teach these things. And on the state
Ted,
level,
we're up against a break right here, but if you can hang on, we can continue the discussion.
Yep, no problem.
All right, we got Ted Richardson from Ole Miss. Stay with us. Studio correction, Ted Richards. Apologize for that. My sheet said Richardson. Apologize for that, Ted, but we got it right now. He is a postdoctorate student at the Ole Miss Declaration Center. We're just talking about the passing of his friend, Charlie Kirk, which occurred last week. So he was scheduled to be on campus next month, correct? You had a hand in getting him to Ole Miss. Can we expect that event to still be held? What's going to go on there?
Yeah, so we've heard from Turning Point's national office that they're planning on keeping the tour. I don't know exactly what all the details will be, but they're not going to cancel the tour dates, and so something is still going to happen. And I'll just say for our part at the Declaration Center, even if Turning Point for some reason is unable or decides they don't want to go forward with that we're going to make sure something happens on October 29th on campus in honor of Charlie Kirk.
Well, there's rumor going around that perhaps Charlie's widow, Erica, will attend and be at the university.
Yeah, I've heard some of that as well. None of it has been confirmed. I'm in contact with the national team. I haven't heard any specific confirmations of anything like that as yet, but that would be exciting.
Okay. So what are you talking about in the classroom at the Declaration Center regarding this? Are you guys discussing this? I know we're only a couple of days in class time since this incident occurred. What's the discussion all about?
Yeah, So I taught a class on Wednesday, but it was before the shooting happened. But on Friday when we got back together, we probably spent 20 or 30 minutes of a 50-minute class talking about the event and what it means and the reactions to it and how we should think about it. And we also had the Declaration Center has a weekly symposium in the basement of Tom Beckby on the Square.
Yeah.
And when we got together for that, we talked a little bit about it there as well, and we talked about how to be brave be courageous despite the dangers that we're facing. Frankly, that Charlie Kirk, who in a lot of ways was a political moderate, he was a normal, sort of right in the center Republican. He wasn't an extremist, and anybody who's to the right of him, you can imagine is feeling it's hard to not take this personally. And so we're talking about the kids on how to be strong and how to be firm despite the fear that this is trying to inspire.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And, of course, I think young people are trying to process this and put it in perspective. What does this mean? And this seemingly rise in the idea of assassination as a solution to the problems that you confront. It just seems to have taken hold, and we've begun to sanction and even normalize it. I guess before this incident with Charlie Kirk, the assassination in broad daylight of the United Healthcare CEO, and then in the wake of that, almost the deification of Luigi Mangione, the killer, the assassin. It's just incredible.
Yeah, Charlie actually warned not long before his death about the rise of assassination culture, particularly on the left. And, unseating tyrants, the right of revolution, this is a part of America's fiber, and it wouldn't take much in the mind of someone who's been educated in the wrong way to twist that and say that anyone who I don't agree with, anyone who thinks differently of me, than me, rather, is a tyrant and is somebody who's worthy of that.
Yeah. It's incredible that we've gotten to that point. What else are you focused on at the Declaration Center these days?
Well, we're the Declaration Center for the Study of American Freedom, and so more than anything, we're always focused on freedom, and we provide a great curriculum for the kids. In college, if you're going to learn anything about America, it's usually going to be how bad America is and how much you should hate it and why it's evil. We're specifically, our mission is to counter that we think America is good and that there are reasons that it's good and we should discuss those. And
Sure.
so we're providing an education in that for these kids, as well as we provide public programming for people to come. Like we were co-sponsoring Charlie's event; he was coming. But we do the same with lots of other, great public lectures and with our symposium to encourage an environment that favors freedom and favors free dialogue on campus, so that it's not all skewed one way the way it usually is.
Yeah, I totally agree. We got to go, but I'll just make this final statement and let you respond. It just feels like, just based on all the reports, all the examples, that college campuses are just overwhelmed with faculty, administrators, content that leans left, and they don't get the other ideas. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And like I said, that's what our mission particularly is to combat. And, speaking for myself, not for the Center or for University of Mississippi, I can say that something large needs to change on college campuses around the country, because if we're vilifying one side of the aisle, we see the predictable results of that this past.
Totally agree.
If you
Appreciate
vilify
it, Ted.
those people, that's what happens.
Thank you, man.